Now, a couple years ago, a trip down memory lane, I remember using my first mirrorless cameras, Sony mirrorless cameras, that could only shoot 1080 and sometimes maybe even 1080-60 if I was lucky. Later on, Sony started to develop cameras, mirrorless cameras that could do internal 4K, which was huge. However, those internal 4K codecs were only 8-bit 420, and that was typically fine if you were doing a talking head, sit-down interview, something very basic. Because once you started to really try to push the image in the color grade or do any kind of post manipulation to the footage, you'd get banding, you'd get some weird stuff. The image would start to break. You didn't want to do anything more than just shooting an S-Log, S-Log2 or S-Log3, and then using a basic conversion LUT. Anything more than that, you'd be in pretty hard trouble. At the time, 2016, 2017, if you wanted any kind of higher quality codec, you would have to be shooting on an Alexa or a Red or even a Blackmagic camera that could do ProRes, internal 422, or uncompressed Cinema DNG RAW. And at that time, if you were shooting on an Alexa or a Red or a Blackmagic camera, even ProRes, not even talking about uncompressed Cinema DNG RAW, number one, the media is expensive. And then also number two, you have to figure out what kind of storage and how much storage you need, because now you're not using, internal 420 codecs, you're using higher bitrate codecs, which means you need more storage. Now, fast forward a couple years after that, we're in 2021 or so, 2020, and we start to see cameras, smaller cameras, being able to record internal 4K and with a 10-bit 422 type codec. For me, coming from those older cameras that did internal 4K but only 8-bit 420, I always wanted to maximize the data rate as much as possible. So I stayed away from any of those, 10-bit 420 or the HS codecs that Sony has now. But, times change and technology gets better, as it should. And middle of this year, I was producing and directing a docu-series. So for 1 month, we're using the FX6 and the FX30. And originally, I had planned to only use the FX30 for a couple of shots, specialty shots, things that maybe I want to rig on a car, or if we were going into a remote location where the FX6 would just be a little bit too big, too cumbersome, I had the FX30. But time goes on and you start to get more into your pre-production, and I realized that, well, I'm probably going to be using my FX30 a lot more. And if I also wanted to use the XAVCS-I codec on the FX30, the higher data rate, about 240 megabits per second, I was going to need more storage. And I didn't want to have 40 terabytes of storage at the end of this project. I was looking more about, 10 to 12 would be manageable for me. So the only option I really had was to look at the HS codec and see if it's any good. Can I match it with a all-light codec from my FX6? Am I going to be running into any issues? Moray, anything that you would expect from, say, a lower end codec, right? Or one that just captures at a lower data rate. So rather than me trying to explain the science behind it, why don't I just show you some example footage showing the FX30 using the 4K XAVC HS codec.
This
Now, hopefully from the example footage, you can see, well, then again, YouTube compression also adds a factor into it. But for the most part, the same footage, if you're watching it on Vimeo or on your computer natively, you can see that with XAVC HS, the codec is actually very, very good. It's very, very efficient. Again, even though it's only 100 megabits per second compared to the all-light codec, which is 240 megabits per second, the image doesn't break. And so for my documentary, it was great having this more efficient codec that could save space, right? One, the physical media, whether I'm using SD cards or CF Express Type A cards. Number two, also the storage, right? Whether I'm using T7 4 terabyte drives or 2 terabyte drives, I don't have to have 5 or 6 or 7 or 8 of them. I can get away with just 3 of them. And right now, I'm recording on my FX30 in the XAVC HS codec. Again, obviously, I'm just sitting here, nothing's happening. But again, if I were to use the all-light codec, nothing wrong with it. But it would be sort of like a waste of data and a waste of space if I needed to use the all-light codec in this kind of situation. All that being said, I think we're all just grateful now. In 2025, depending on when you watch this, maybe 2026 or later, we have cameras that can do internal 4K, that can do 10-bit 422 codecs, that can do efficient codecs, such as the Sony XAVC HS codec. And so it's never been better, especially in this time and age, with all the camera choices that we have, the media choices that we have, and the image quality from the cameras as well. If you guys like this video, please leave it a thumbs up. I would appreciate it. Remember to subscribe to the YouTube channel as always, just so you are notified of new content coming out. And remember that every day you have an opportunity to create your experience and to write and tell your own story. My name is David Lee, and I'll catch you guys in the next video.